You're running the show.
All right, so with 3 games left in the season, you guys have clinched the playoffs, and although your opponent has yet to be determined, what would you say your mindset is as the team going into this weekend with 3 games left?
I think we're just trying to make sure our game's where it should be for heading into playoffs. I think we can still get some home ice. We still don't know who our opponent is, so we start trying to finish as high as we possibly can, and we're just trying to tighten up our game a little bit before we head into playoffs.
Okay. And as far as heading into those playoffs, and no matter who you guys play, it could be any of those 3 really at the moment. How important is it for you guys to make sort of like that statement in that first game of the playoffs this season?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Especially if we're at home, you want to make our building a very hard building to play in, and that teams know coming into playoffs that you don't want to be down, and you don't want to be coming into Mohegan Sun. So I think for us, we just, especially if it's at home, we have to make a really big statement with game 1.
Okay. You've sort of been here before in the playoffs with the Penguins. Is there anything different this time around for you?
I've been in, I think every year that you go into playoffs, you're a different animal. I think the different teams always have different dynamics. So I think for us, obviously we're different than the teams that I've been here before. So we just got to make sure we play to our identity, which is we play a pretty hard game. We're a fast team, and we have to make teams play up to our pace. And I think if we can do that through the course of a series, it's going to make it really difficult for teams to play with us.
And you won a Calder Cup with Texas in 2014. What sort of experience does that help you bring to the table this time around?
I'm not sure. It's one of those things that hopefully it'll come out when the situation arises. I think it's just having that calm confidence that I think a group that's going to go far needs to have, because you can't let the emotions of playoffs or the swings of games get to you. And I think the teams that let that really affect them, I think they're the ones that fall apart when it comes into playoffs. And I think for us, we just got to make sure that we ride the highs and lows, and then we don't let it affect us as much as they can.
Okay, and since that time, you've yet to play in a playoff game. Does that sort of make you hungry to get back to these, playoff games and make a sort of a statement of your own? Whether it be scoring goals or playing well. Since that time, since you won that Calder Cup.
Yeah, we just missed the playoffs last year. I got traded from a first place team to a last, so obviously that's the reason we were in the playoffs last year. So I think anytime you get into a playoff series, you want to make a statement. And I think a lot of guys, the older guys are playing for contracts, and I think anytime that you have success in playoffs, it helps your case when it comes to free agency.
Okay, and when you look at this team as a whole heading into the playoffs, what would you say that you guys have that perhaps some of the other playoff teams don't have?
I think every team's different. Like if you look at like a team like Providence, obviously the power play is huge, but we think we can play a better team game. So I think, or you look at Hershey, obviously they're pretty high powered offensively as well. I think every team has a different dynamic. So I think I don't know how you would compare it from team to team. It just depends on who we play, and we have to just make sure our strengths overcome theirs.
Okay, and recently you're named to the second, All-Star team for the AHL, and this is actually your first selection to that squad.
Yep.
How does that make you feel, and where would you say that stacks up for you in terms of accomplishments for your career?
I don't know if it stacks up very high. Like obviously, playing games in the NHL and winning a Calder Cup and being part of a black acing when the team wins the Stanley Cup obviously are a lot higher than that. Obviously, it's nice to be recognized for that, but I think I've ever actually had better seasons in the American League, and not being named to that team. So it's just one of those things. Obviously, it's nice to be named, but it's a regular season award, or the things that really matter come in playoffs.
Okay.